UFC 316 Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley 2 is only a couple weeks away, and O'Malley's coach Tim Welch did an interview with ESPN's Brett Okamoto as well as Ariel Helwani, where he coped and made nothing but excuses for why O'Malley lost to Merab. And it was just quite frankly embarrassing, because one of those excuses, he blamed the sphere. Or let me correct myself. He blamed Spear or Sphere, however they were saying it on the broadcast. He said the lights were too bright. They were throwing us off. Tim Welch has proven time and time again he is nothing more than a yes man for Sean O'Malley. And Ariel actually also pissed me off because he started acting like O'Malley deserved to get a rematch with Merab Dvalishvili. He was like, look, man, the people saying Sean O'Malley doesn't deserve the fight. Well, who else does deserve it then? Okay, I get that to a certain extent. But there is clearly an answer to that. And we're going to get to that. We're going to check out the Brett Okamoto interview. We're going to check out the Ariel Helwani interview. We're going to break it all down. Let's jump right into ESPN MMA. 480p. I mean, get a new camera, Brett. Seriously. All right, we're going to start right away with basically a bunch of excuses about social media. It's like Tim Welch and Sean O'Malley are so delusional. Like, yeah, man, O'Malley's staying off Snapchat now. And he talked about this in the Ariel interview as well, which we're not really going to look at that part of the interview. But basically just a bunch of excuses for why O'Malley lost to Merab, other than the fact that he just got brutally exposed because he wasn't good enough to grapple with Merab. Let's listen.
My career, what's changed the most?
Yeah, him just having less distractions, saying no to all these trips that we're getting offered to go on, putting his social medias aside, not always thinking about, okay, what content can I do? What content can I do? Even when we go into the training session, be like, all right, what content are we going to do at the end of this? And constantly thinking about that, not having that at all, and just be able to focus on his home life with his family, and make social media and all these trips take a back seat and just focus on training.
Not the worst excuses ever. You know, I understand to a certain extent they have to say, well, here's what we think went wrong. But yeah, he's just not on social media. He specifically was saying Snapchat on Ariel's show. And he's spending more time with his family, so that's going to make him level up his grappling against Merab, where he made a bunch of excuses about being injured, even claimed that he won at one point in time, which Brett Okamoto actually brings up, and Tim Welch doesn't give an answer because he's a yes man for Sean O'Malley, so he doesn't want to go against what Sean O'Malley's saying, but we'll talk about that in a second. Actually, Brett Okamoto asked a decent follow-up question. He's like, well, does social media really matter that much? Listen to this.
But do you feel like it was getting to the point that we see with some superstars in this sport where even if you think you're handling it well, you're not? Was it getting to a point with it?
Superstar. We're calling Sean O'Malley a superstar again. I got a lot of shit in the beginning of this channel for saying Sean O'Malley is not a star. Then I got a lot of shit for saying, well, if he wins impressively at Sphere, I think is how you say it, at the Sphere, I'm not calling it that corny shit, then he could be a star. But most definitely after he got dominated and exposed by Merab, he's most definitely not a star. But Brett Okamoto, I guess, wants to suck up to Tim and be like, yeah, man, he's a superstar. By the way, why has Brett got a backwards hat on in this video? Grow the fuck up, Brett. Get a new camera and grow up. Let me stop. I don't care about the backwards hat. I just noticed this, and this is just, I mean, I think that's a backwards hat. It's kind of hard to tell with all the grainy footage. But yeah, grow the fuck up, Brett. Anyway, let's listen to Tim Welch's answer.
It was getting to a point, and like he may not admit it himself, but like even the fight week for the Sphere, there's just like saying yes to all these podcasts and saying yes to all these different things and not just focusing on what we need to focus on. And this fight, it's helped out a lot. Not saying we're just like 100% going to win just because of that, but it's really helped him be more peaceful, be at peace, and really focus on what matters in his life. And that's his relationships and the people around him, and not just so focused on social media and money and being this character, just grounding him a little bit more. And it's been nice.
Acting like he's Conor McGregor. He's got so many responsibilities, but that wasn't too horrible. It gets progressively worse as we go. Next clip we're going to look at. I mean, these guys. Oh, this isn't the actual clip. It's the next clip after this where he starts blaming the lights. But this clip is just more excuses for why he lost to Merab the first time.
Just wrestle a lot more. So his reactions are way better when it comes to the wrestling and when it comes to creating scrambles compared to the last fight where it was like, gosh, like I go into practice. I'm like, hey, we're wrestling today. We're doing this today. He's like, I can't. I can't wrestle. I can hit mitts. That's all I can do. So for me, it's made me feel a lot better being able to actually put him through hell when it comes to these grappling practices and these wrestling.
So he couldn't grapple, but they took a fight against Merab. Okay. I think that's a bit of an excuse for getting dominated. You thought you could win. You went in, and now you got to make a bunch of excuses afterwards. I covered this in the immediate aftermath. They did the same thing. Tim Welch openly admitted, and I really should have got the clip from this interview, but way back when, Tim Welch admitted, man, we didn't see double legs coming from Merab. We never saw a double leg coming, even though Merab has shot dozens of double legs over the course of his career, and he is a wrestler. You wouldn't expect one of the most common types of takedowns? Okay. All right. Now, it really starts to get delusional right here, really, and Brett just lets it kind of slide on by and doesn't ask a follow-up question. But listen to this.
A sniper, and if you make the wrong decision, if you make one mistake against him, he's going to put your lights out and he's going to put one on the dot. So I just think it was meant to happen. I've rewatched that fight so many times. I rewatched the fight in slow-mo so many times.
I wonder if he rewatched the part where he was like, man, Suge, it's almost over, Suge. Just breathe, Suge. It's almost over, Suge. It's going to be over soon, Suge. He was coaching him through. Well, it literally sounded like Tim Welch was in the corner coaching him through I was going to say a prison something, but I'm not even going to go. I'm not even going to go there. He sounded like he was really coaching him through something. It's almost over, man. It's going to be over soon. Just breathe, man. And he's talking about how all the shots that just barely missed, and he blames it on the sphere. Listen to this.
Tons and tons of shots that barely missed by inches that would have completely changed the fight. And I think a lot of it had to do, with the sphere and the lighting and then not only injury. I just feel like in our lives that was supposed to happen. It really, really caused us to truly just love.
You guys let me know. Am I being too much of a hater on this one? Or is this craziness? Listen to this.
That barely missed by inches that would have completely changed the fight. And I think a lot of it had to do, with the sphere and the lighting and then not only injury. I just feel like in our lives that was supposed to happen.
So there were shots that barely missed that would have completely changed the fight. And we think it had to do with the sphere lighting and the injury. These dudes do nothing but make excuses. How about, damn, Merab was so good. We've taken some time off. We've improved. We're going to come out there and starch Merab out cold. By the way, I got a sinking feeling Merab's going to throw this fight. I'm telling you, the way he's talking, the way he's sucking off O'Malley, I really got a gut feeling. Merab should win this rematch easily. There's no doubt in my mind Merab can win. But I got a sinking feeling he's going to try to taunt and strike with O'Malley and maybe not take him down and kiss his buddy's back as much. And I got a sinking feeling Merab's going to somehow throw it. But how do they expect to win a rematch, okay? Let's say Merab has a similar game plan to the first fight. When all they're thinking about is, it was social media. It was the sphere lights. It was the injuries. It was the time away from the family. It was the podcast. It was Snapchat. We didn't see double leg takedowns. I couldn't believe he said that. But, yeah, just delusional. And then the last clip I want to show from this interview before we get to the Ariel Helwani interview is something Brett Okamoto said. Okay, Mr. Backwards Hat Brett Okamoto. Listen to this.
After the fight, a week after the fight, Sean was even texting me like, how did you score that fight? Because all of a sudden he rewatched it and he thought he didn't do as bad as maybe he thought he did in there. Mm-hmm. Even so much saying that he thought he won. Is he still believing that? Like, is you going into this fight feeling like, and not that this is a focus of yours or you feel like there was any wrong, but is he going in with the mentality of like, I feel like I beat this guy already and now I'll beat him worse? Like, how does he view the last fight?
Think about how mentally broken Sean O'Malley was. He's texting 480p Brett Okamoto asking him, how'd you score that fight? How'd you score it? I got dominated. All I landed was one teep kick that everyone gave me a participation trophy for. And he's literally asking Tim Welch, well, does he think he won? And this answer is really an uninteresting answer, but I want to play it for you for a specific reason. Listen to a little bit of it.
I mean, we just went 25 minutes with the guy. So I think people who fought Merab there, they don't know what to expect. They don't know to expect how powerful he is on the wall or how powerful he is on the ground.
So basically a non-answer, okay? He goes on for a little bit longer, but basically a non-answer. You know why? Because he's a Sean O'Malley yes man, okay? He's a Sean O'Malley sycophant. He's Sean O'Malley's little ginger bitch boy. He's not going to come out and say, look, there's no way Sean won that fight. Just like the Piotr Jan fight. They celebrate it like they won the lottery because they did win the lottery. They clearly didn't win the Piotr Jan fight either. They're never going to come out and say that. But O'Malley saying he beat Merab is borderline mentally ill. And so you could see his body language like kind of shook his head a little bit no, and then he went into some spiel about, well, we've spent time with him there in the cage before. I mean, it just shows how much O'Malley's surrounded by yes men, and he's an industry plant by the UFC. He really only has one good win, and that's Aljamain Sterling, which was Aljo's set up for failure by the UFC and also an early stoppage. But that's enough for the ESPN MMA interview, which I will link down in the description. Let's check out his recent, because that was about a week ago. Now, this is from today. He did an interview with Ariel Helwani. First off, I just want to show you the intro. I watch these full interviews, and there's bits and pieces that really don't have a specific spot in these videos, but I'm like, you know what? I got to include this. Listen to this. Listen to the way that Ariel intros Tim Welch.
Let us go to our first guest of the day. He will be by his man's side next week right here in the tri-state area as he...
Who says this? Who says this?
Let us go to our first guest of the day. He will be by his man's side next week right here in the tri-state area as...
He will be by his man's side. Who even talks like that? I mean, I know Tim Welch was upset when Merab was kissing his buddy's back. Maybe there's a reason, and maybe Ariel knows and he's not sharing it with the rest of us. Anyway, I'm going to show you this very delusional clip where he talks about how healthy O'Malley was coming out of the fight. And then I'm going to let it play, and then he talks about how injured O'Malley was. Now, granted, I understand he's saying basically these are pre-existing injuries, but it sounds so stupid. It just doesn't jive at all. Listen to this.
I knew the type of kid he is. I'm around him enough. I know what type of kid he is. And it's not like he went out there and got his ass kicked. He didn't walk out of there with black eyes and bruised ribs and a cut face and hurt. He was more healthy after that fight, I think, than any of our other fights. And so it's just the tactical mistakes, got tired, was super bummed out for a little bit, but definitely woke up a different sugar.
So he was so healthy. He was so healthy coming out of that fight, but then proceeds to blame injuries. And I understand what he's saying. Well, he was injured going into the fight. I'm talking about injuries from the fight, but he's acting like O'Malley's so unbanged up. But then afterwards, O'Malley ran an excuse party. Him and O'Malley ran an excuse party about how banged up he was. So which is it? And literally, I'm not even going to skip ahead here. I'm just going to let it keep playing. Listen to this.
So it's interesting when you say like it humbled us a little bit. In retrospect, do you guys think that you were kind of, I don't know, feeling yourselves too much? You were looking past Merab? You were on a roll? What do you mean by that?
I mean, we've taken these fights when we just weren't super healthy. I mean, getting through that Aljo fight. Okay.
Taking these fights when we were just unhealthy. Meanwhile, he's talking about, oh, O'Malley was 100% afterwards. No black eyes, no cuts. Yeah, it seems like Merab blew his back out. Seemed like he blew O'Malley's back out. Seems like he was kissing your buddy's neck. This shit is just embarrassing, man. Just take the loss. Take the L. And the reason I really want to point this out is because how do you expect to win when instead of thinking, oh, that guy was better than me on the night, when I tried to cheat multiple times, which I covered, when he tried to sucker punch Merab, when he tried to use that bullshit coaching technique, which we're going to get into in this interview as well. Just take the L, man. Not, oh, man, Merab did no damage. We teeped him in the 5th round, so we should get a win. And Sean O'Malley came out healthy, but he wasn't healthy going in. And meanwhile, You got gifted an advantageous title shot against Aljamain Sterling where he was set up for failure. You got gifted a robbery win over Petr Yan. You got gifted a layup title defense against Marlon Chito Vera, the same guy who many years earlier brutally shucked you to the ground and then flash KO'd you with brutal ground and pound elbows, and then you were stretchered out of the cage with no serious injuries. You were gifted that rematch because the UFC knew it was an easier matchup than Merab, and now you're making all these excuses instead of just taking your L. And now you're getting an undeserved immediate rematch, not for Merab, but for Sean O'Malley. Merab had to fight Umar. O'Malley just sat on the sidelines and got gifted another title shot, which we'll get into in this interview as well. And we're going to listen to a little bit more of this.
Okay, the camp was awful. Getting through the Cheeto fight, he still had that torn hip. We didn't have the greatest camp. So again, going into this third fight with someone like Merab, being like, well, look what we've won these past 2 fights with shitty camps. Like, this is another one. Let's just go see if we can win. But someone like Merab, you got to be healthy for him.
So another laundry list of excuses for why they lost the fight. Oh, his hip, my leg, my hip, my neck, my back. All right, let's jump ahead. Let's jump ahead because there's more. I think this is where he was specifically asked about the comments he made to Brett Okamoto in his backwards hat about the lights. Ariel asked for clarification on that. Listen to this.
The sphere and the lighting back when you guys. So and maybe you can expand or clarify. Initially, when I saw this, I thought like, oh, is he saying like the bright lights, like the proverbial bright lights of the sphere got to him? But I think you were talking specifically and literally that the lighting in the sphere may have affected Sean in the fight. Is that accurate?
No, I mean, it just that whole night. I mean, you always see Sean.
So no. And then the answer he gives afterwards is like kind of like, yeah, I don't get it at all. I don't even understand this.
When he gets in the octagon, he'll get in the guy's face. He'll walk up to him with his arms open and just has that aura about him. And he didn't do any of that. And we didn't really get to see the sphere at all. And
well, I don't even understand this. This dude's talking about, man, Sean O'Malley's aura wasn't there that night at UFC Noche, the sphere. He didn't do this. He didn't do this, man. I'm telling you right now, I got a sneaking suspicion. I've been saying this for like a year. Tim Welch at some point is going to be remembered like Edmund Tarverdian in Ronda Rousey. If you know, you know. I'm not going to get into the whole spiel about that. Head movement. I mean, think about how crazy that he's blaming that O'Malley's aura wasn't there. I'm just going to rewind that a few seconds. Listen to this again. And there's more to this.
Gets in the octagon. He'll get in the guy's face. He'll walk up to him with his arms open and just has that aura about him. And he didn't do any of that. And we didn't really get to see the sphere at all until we walked out of the cage. And it felt quite a bit different. And I don't know if it was the sphere that had to do with it, but just that night, I don't know. It's just something about it. We were meant to lose that fight. And now it's just going to make this one that much sweeter.
What does that word salad even mean? Can somebody explain that? We didn't get to see the sphere before it. You're getting in a cage. I understand, okay, some of the lighting could be distracting, but that's not even what you're trying to say here. Yeah, man, his aura wasn't. I mean, he should have been fired the second he said we didn't expect double leg takedowns. But if it wasn't then, he needs to be fired after saying, man, yeah, Sean's aura wasn't there that night. He didn't get up and hold his arms up in the air and get Merab's face. He didn't do it that night, which I don't remember if he did or didn't. Maybe he did. But apparently, according to Tim Welch, his aura is missing. Now, the next thing they're going to get into is Ariel starts framing like Sean O'Malley is deserving of a bantamweight title shot. Let's listen.
To anyone who says that Sean doesn't deserve this, my response is, who else does? Like, who is he leapfrogging? Whose opportunity is he taking away? I don't think that there is a single person out there. I mean, like,
how about anybody with a fucking win streak, Ariel? By the way, I understand this argument. Undeserved title shots aren't that bad when there's no like true clear-cut number one contender. But what about Petr Yan? Petr Yan's far more deserving. He beat Sean O'Malley, was brutally robbed. But even so, he lost to Merab in a more competitive fight, in my opinion. And then he won a few fights afterwards. Sean O'Malley lost 4-1. You could make the argument 5-0. And then he sat on the sidelines, jacking off Tim Welch. And now he's getting an immediate rematch when he didn't even earn the first title shot he got against Aljo but he was gifted a decision against Petr Yan, who should get the title shot. Not to mention anybody with a win streak is more deserving. So Petr Yan, Mario Batista, whoever you want to throw in there, you could make the case is more deserving for a title shot. Corey Sandhagen, you could make the case. There's not any clear cut, oh my God, they definitely deserve it. But O'Malley getting Dana White privilege after Dana White privilege is a complete embarrassment. And we'll listen to a little bit more here.
Like even Umar didn't necessarily deserve it. He hadn't gone through a murderer's row to get to a title shot. But
since when do you have to go through a murderer's row to get a title shot, by the way? Since when? He beat a top 5 guy and he was undefeated. Lots of guys on the way up that top 10 turned him down. He beat Bekzak Almahan in his debut, who's actually a killer if you actually watch his fight. I'm not saying Umar was undeniable. If there was someone with a longer win streak, by God, give it to him. But to compare Umar, who was 19-0, I don't remember his exact record, 19-0, dominated Corey Sandhagen, getting a title shot versus O'Malley, industry plant, coming off a loss, dominant loss to the current champion, getting a title shot just because they come on your show, you have to act like those are the same things. They're not even in the same universe. It's ridiculous. Let's listen to more.
all right, fine, it made sense and Merab was down. Do you get annoyed when you hear any of that, or do you not listen to any of that stuff?
I'm getting a lot better at posting and ghosting. And
By the way, what a stupid fucking question. Do you get mad at anybody pointing out the blatantly obvious fact that Sean O'Malley gets preferential treatment by the UFC? Because, man, he's edgy, man. He smokes weed. He has tattoos. Oh, he dyes his hair. He dyes his hair. Now people are going to call me a Sean O'Malley hater. Which is funny because 6 months ago, people were calling me a fanboy because I switched my pick and picked him against Merab, which was a horrible pick and an embarrassing pick in my opinion. But yeah, we're not even going to listen to any more of that. And the last thing I want to show you, this just kind of irritated me a bit, is him talking about how he, he'll break the rules essentially to give his fighter an advantage. It just shows how mentally weak Tim Welch is, that he wants to try to confuse the opposing fighter by shouting instructions at the opposing fighter to get an advantage over that fighter. And he tries to rope Ariel, and Ariel kind of agrees with him, which is a joke, by the way.
goes through your mind. So, I mean, I guess there's a rule. There's a rule John McCarthy said is excessive coaching. I still have yet to see this rule.
Oh, really, Tim? Luckily, I pulled up the NSAC rules for you. A second may not coach loudly or in an excessive manner from the corners during a period of unarmed combat. There you go. Okay. NRUC 4.070, Section 4. Get over it. Go coach. Go convince Sean O'Malley to fight in between rounds. We'll listen to a little bit more. Let's carry on.
Still yet to see this rule. And this
Excessive coaching. Interesting.
Excessive coaching. And then again, you see the videos, and I said, Merab, you need to be patient. And now, but then now you said, Big John said, you can't even say the other fighter's name. If you say their other name, then that's not.
And then what happens?
I don't know.
I don't know. They're going to take a point. O'Malley cheated nonstop. He was fence grabbing. Tim Welch was screaming the other fighter's name, which he got yelled at. Sean O'Malley tried to sucker punch Merab when Herb was being a fucking terrible referee. They tried to cheat their way to a win. You could just tell how mentally weak they are by the way they cheated in that fight. And then to top it all off, they now make a laundry list of excuses after the fact, and they're still making them, even though Sean O'Malley thinks he won. And now the UFC is placating them by giving them one of the most disgusting, undeserved title shots ever at UFC 316. By the way, I encourage everyone not to purchase this pay-per-view. I know most people don't anyway. Do not purchase UFC 316. It's a garbage main event. I'll still be covering it. But man, I know this might have not seemed like any smoking gun or anything too crazy, but blaming the Sphere and then kind of backtracking and saying, well, we felt weird and this and that. It's just an embarrassment, man. I hope, Merab's been annoying me recently, but Sean O'Malley and his coach, they're literally the benefactors of Dana White privilege. And then they sit here and make excuses and they try to cheat. And it's just humiliating in my opinion. So hopefully Merab wins. But I got a terrible feeling Merab's going to somehow try to throw this fight. But let me know what you guys think about all this down in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. Am I overreacting to this little ginger boy here? Let me know what you guys think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.